You serious?
Hello, there's plenty of ways to kill some time out there. I'm Marcus Bronzy.
And I'm Nick Bright.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Part 2 of when we conversed with the Ortis that is Deley.
From the Gadget Show. Yeah, really, really good guy. Part 1 was amazing. You think that was good? Part 2, boy, remember when he said that thing about the thing and the thing? Oh, you're in for a treat. Oh my gosh.
I remember we had that smooth transition in.
Oh.
Yeah. What if we were to do the opposite of it and we said Otis is going to start talking starting from
now.
Okay, cool. So a big season of Gadget Show we can look forward to in 2017. Speaking of Marvel heroes, actually, you're quite into your comics though, right?
Big, yeah. I got a stash of Spider-Man in my bag right now. About 6 months behind, so it's been quite a busy period running up to the end of last year. So I've got a stack of about 60 comics that I need to get through. But I've been reading since I was 15, so a good while, nearly 30 years.
Wow.
Oh.
How many comics have you got?
I'd say around 9,000.
What? Where do you keep 9,000 comics?
They're in the room that I call my office because my wife won't have them anywhere else. So they're in boxes, so they're stacked up.
That is a lot.
And I got about 16 boxes.
Wow.
Yeah. And you've read all of those?
Yeah.
Back to back?
Yeah. Don't buy them if you're not going to read them, unless you think they're going to be worth something, and then you buy 2 or maybe 3. And then there's a couple you don't read. And
one to read, one to keep and make you millions in the future.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully.
I mean, can you share with us one of your favorite comics and why? Because I don't know about comics like that.
So I got into comics by reading a story called The Killing Joke, which DC have just animated actually. And because I can remember in school teasing a friend when he broke out a Batman comics. I was teasing him and saying, that shit's for kids, man. What are you reading children's books for? And he didn't say nothing to me. He just went in his bag, took out A Killing Joke, slid it across the table, and I read that and I was blown away. And that, I think that same year or very soon afterwards, The Dark Knight Returns was released as well, which is written by Frank Miller, which is one of the dopest Batman stories ever told. The Killing Joke is a Batman story, but it focuses on the Joker. So for me, it's like the best Joker story ever told. So it was those 2 comics that drew me in. And I had just missed a little mini series of comics where the Joker had bludgeoned Robin to death. And that was called A Death in the Family. So they went through quite a dark time in the late 80s, and that's where I jumped on, and I've been a victim of them ever since, man. Lots of pennies spent on my comics over the years.
Cool. What do you think of the animated versions of those? Because I've actually seen those recently and I thought they were pretty cool. Are they all right adaptations? Yeah.
I think the you can do more with the animation than you can the movie. There's a lot more riding on a live action movie than there is a cartoon. But the Killing Joke, in my opinion, was done very well. It took a long time for them to get it right and feel confident enough to let it go, because it's a big story. But for me, seeing all my heroes rendered on the big screen in this way and have it be, the biggest form of movie entertainment there is at the moment. You stick a superhero in a movie, you've pretty much guaranteed box office success. So from being teased about reading these comics and connecting with these characters back in the day, it's now, who's laughing now? Well, are you making money off them? Well, no, I'm not, but I'm
but I was backing him from early.
But I was supporting without me, Marvel.
Exactly.
Well, I've just actually watched the Lego Batman movie, which, is probably not the greatest example to use for somebody who's a hardcore avid fan.
Well, it's funny, I've not seen the movie yet. It's on the list, but I'm told if you're deep into your comics, especially Batman, then there are a lot of Easter eggs in there that you may chuckle to on your own.
There are references.
So I'm told they're a bear in this movie. So
I think it's a really good movie, man.
Yeah.
Like really, really funny. Like and also if you've got kids, it's like something you can take your kids to, because obviously it's Lego Batman. But there are jokes in there that are like aimed at adults.
Yeah.
That you will find funny. Yeah. And the kids won't even get it. You know what I mean? Like they're really, really good.
Yeah, I do want to see that, definitely.
Nice. Who do we need to see next on the big screen though, superhero wise?
Black Panther can't come quick enough.
Okay.
So that's the one I'm most excited about. I'd like to see. There was a story I read beginning of last year called Red, White and Black. So it was called Truth, Red, White and Black, and it was the story of the journey to making Captain America. So it's quite a controversial storyline. There's this event in America's history called the Tuskegee experiments, where there were government-sanctioned experiments done on a community of on African American community. They basically infected the community with syphilis because they wanted to see the path of sexual behavior in the black community there. So these individuals weren't told, and the experiment was left to run for some decades and then forgotten about, and these individuals still weren't told about it. The experiment was uncovered in the 70s, as you know, a lot of people who knew each other were dying. There was like this huge resurgence of deaths, syphilis related deaths, and the families fought for decades, and then during Clinton's administration, he publicly apologized for it. So the author had taken that story and said, what if the super soldier serum that gave us Captain America wasn't perfected first time? With every vaccine or whatever, you have to run tests. And he says, what if all these tests, the human tests, were done on black American soldiers? So that's the story of a group of 4, I believe, soldiers who didn't die straight away after being given the super serum, but developed negative aspects to their power in one way or another. So like one was got too angry and couldn't control the power. Another one had mental degradation during his time fighting, but one of them kind of shone above, stood head and shoulders above the rest, and was in fact the first Captain America. So it's like, what if the first Captain America was a black guy? And it's about him struggling with it, with the strength that it's brought, and the taxing on his mental capabilities, and the fact that the American government would send him into certain areas to sort out the situation, but couldn't publicly thank him for it. So quite controversial, but a really good storyline. I'd love to see that done as like a 6-part showcase drama or HBO or something like that.
I was about to say, Netflix, obviously, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
I would say they've got their plate full at the moment, because each of these have been very successful. All the titles you mentioned have been wicked. They've all been bad. They got Iron Fist coming next. Yeah. I'm told they got season 3 of Daredevil coming, which for me is the best one of
Wow, really?
Yeah. That's because the way it came in with the darkness and the violence, it was dope. So that came in. So there's a 3rd season of that. There's 1st season of Iron Fist. They said they're gonna run Punisher before the end of the year as well, and then next year will be Defenders, which is Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist all together as a team. Yeah, man.
I really like the way that there's like, because I'm not the biggest comic book guy either, like, but I've watched Jessica Jones, I've watched Luke Cage, I've watched Daredevil, and I like the way that there's subtle nods to each. I mean, well, I say subtle, obviously in Jessica Jones there is like Luke Cage is in it, but like with Daredevil, it's like there's subtle nods to Daredevil throughout Luke Cage, and I kind of like all of that. And it's nice to know there's something coming where they're all going to be teaming up as a death squad.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think the important thing is, because a lot of people are saying, oh man, I've had enough of, superheroes. I think the important thing is the human story behind it all. So yeah, you might be able to bend steel with your eyeballs or whatever, but what impact does that have on you as someone who's trying to hold on to what defines you as a human being? What it does to, friends and loved ones around you as well. police dramas keep coming back, and you know what I mean, and we continue to lap those up. Crime dramas keep getting reinvented and coming back. So there's room for comic book stories.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of police dramas,
Look at that segue.
yeah, you've been getting into some real life police action now, haven't you?
Last year was really good for me, man. I was able to do some really different stuff. Last summer I got invited to do some ride-alongs with the Durham and Cleveland Constabulary, and the ride-along was with the drug prevention, the drug crime unit, armed response unit as well. So there was a fair bit of high speed driving, pulling people over, testing for alcohol and drugs, kicking indoors, finding cannabis farms and whatnot. It was a really good summer.
Yeah. What's it like going that fast legally?
Yeah.
And through a busy area?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm told it's not legal.
Really?
Yeah. Just because there's a policeman at the wheel, he could be pulled over and done for speeding, but common sense prevails. They're going that fast because they're either chasing a perp or they have to get to somewhere really quick to help somebody.
So hold up. So you're telling me, right, that there could be a police car with the blues and twos on, bombing it down the road, and then if another police car is feeling just like mad cheeky, he could be like, blues and twos on as well, start chasing the other police car. Like,
don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. If there was an accident involving a speeding police car, then the police driver can get done for speeding or driving without due care and attention.
Wow.
So
they have to justify their speed and the extra
It has to be justified.
And they can't use it as an excuse. Like when they go through speed cameras and get flashed, they're not going to have to pay a fine or go on a speed awareness course.
They do the ultimate speed awareness course.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not just a case of there's a crime happening here. All units get there as quick as you can. It's the cops that have been trained to drive at high speeds that are allowed to do so in order to get there first.
Right.
And the course is quite intense. It's a few weeks daily. So just living it, driving it. And the thing they're taught above everything else is awareness and trying to anticipate human behavior. So it's like, okay, someone's on the curb. Are they going to step in, or are my flashing blues and twos loud enough and they've heard it, or they can see it, or is there so much going on ahead of me that they won't notice? So they have to kind of see into the future and try and predict it and drive accordingly.
So it's like an extreme version of the hazard perception test when you do your actual.
And the one thing I noticed. A weird thing is I haven't been fearful when I've been in those situations, because one, I've got good legs, I can run if I have to, and I'm surrounded by cops, so I mean I should be okay. But the one thing that strikes me every time is how slow some people are to just get out of the way. So when you're in the passenger seat and you're looking ahead, some cars, straight away, the moment they hear the blues and twos, or you expect them to hear, they've indicated and they've pulled over. Some cars will carry on. It's like, oh wow, everyone's pulled over for me, and keep driving until the police car is right on their bumper, tooting the horn, getting them to come out of the way. So there are a lot of people who just don't seem to be aware of what to do when there's a car behind, or they don't notice it until late.
Or they're just listening to tunes in the car, innit?
Like, I didn't know there was a siren in this.
That's the worst, though, isn't it?
Remix.
Yeah. When you're listening to a tune and then there's a police siren in it.
Crazy. What was it like seeing police in really confrontational situations? So you can see perps. I like the fact that you're so savvy with that word. You see perps and police, and something's about to happen.
I think one thing I have to tip my hat off to the police that I worked with was they're their perception. They're cynics, so they don't instantly trust if, you know, they've pulled someone over and they're all smiles and they're like, hey, officer, I'm really sorry, blah, blah, blah. They're already on the wait a minute kind of side. Because bare times people got pulled over and I was like, oh, no. He or she seems, they seem cool. They're all right. And they're talking with the police officer. They're being mindful. They're being polite. You know, they're not kicking up a fuss. They seem, you know, fully compass mentis. They're all there. And then the policeman will whip out a drug wipe or a breathalyzer test. And it's like, yeah, we're taking them to the station. It's like, well, how did you even know? Or the next one is like, oh yeah, that car just weaved a little bit. I'm like, well, we all kind of weave a little bit, you know what I mean? Maybe if we're just turning up the volume on the stereo a little bit, we weave a little bit. Or the maddest one was we were in a car behind another car and the cop next to me was like, yeah, I'm going to pull this car over. I can smell weed. And I'm like, you smelled the weed from inside another car, windows done up. You smell. So he pulled them over. Passenger was smoking weed. Driver, after a test, was on cocaine. And the two kids behind had crack and heroin in little bags.
Wow. So that's like a royal flush in poker, right there. Weed, crack,
all the drugs.
cocaine, heroin.
Every passenger had something on them.
Wow. But that's some dog sniffer dog nose as well from the police officer as well. Wow.
Yeah, mans was astounded.
Was it ever scary though? Because I feel like I think I'd be scared. I think I'd be pretty scared.
No, it wasn't. I don't know whether that's the do-gooder in me or whatever. I mean, it was just so crazy seeing it all. Maybe, I don't know, I didn't have time to think about the fear from being called to someone's house who, I mean, been attacked with a hammer to, you know, pulling someone over and him having, you know, over a kilo of heroin on them. I guess if you're too much into American dramas, it'd be like, he's gonna pull a gun.
Yeah.
But nah, I've not been in a situation yet where I was worried.
Okay.
So.
But if you got invited to do this same series in America, it might have to be, I'll think about it.
Yeah, I think it might be a no, Nick, to be fair.
How much is the fee?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think it might be a no. I think I'd definitely be fearful then.
Yeah, well, because anyone can have a gun, man, innit? Like, you forget, I was in holiday in Miami in September, and it's like, you're just there, like, having a good time. Like, you just forget anyone can have a pistol. Anyone. It's ridiculous.
Crazy. Ugh, scary. Anyway, you're into tech, obviously. So it feels like it's right to ask you about tech trends in the past and the year to come. So 2016, well, we checked out quite a bit of tech and gadgets on How to Kill an Hour, but it's always interesting to hear from someone like yourself who sees a lot. What do you think was one of the biggest trends last year?
VR, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
VR was creeping up from about 2013, 2014 because of Oculus Rift. And they brought to the table the notion that it was possible to do more with VR than just put it on your head and play games. There were experiences that could be coded and treatments that could be made, you know, putting yourself in an environment that you would normally find quite fearful and use that as a way of helping someone to develop a coping mechanism. So I'd say Oculus probably owned 2013, 2014. Might have gone a little bit quiet 2015, but then last year, you know, Oculus Rift was still doing what it did. Microsoft came out with their HoloLens. PlayStation came out with their VR headset. Samsung been doing it with their Gear, you know, their more affordable version. HTC's Vive, like I wasn't ready for the Vive experience.
Is that your favorite one?
It was up until I sampled Microsoft HoloLens.
Okay.
So with Vive, there was this thing of, you can play games, you can shoot aliens in a kind of 360 environment, like over your shoulder and behind you and whatnot, underneath you. And there was this there was this graffiti app or software that was available where you could create images that were fleshed out. So it wasn't just about moving up, down, left and right. You could move forward and behind. So you could create artwork that you could step around or step through. You know, I saw this artist do like a bird, but then he stepped inside the bird to do the beak and the wings and whatnot. And it was a trip watching it. And then he gave you the headset afterwards so you could experience it yourself. So Vive brought that difference. There was another experience where you were on a shipwrecked, on a boat that had sunk, and you could mess around with the fishes, interact with the fishes, look around you, and then this whale came. And when you look at something on a flat screen, you're like, yeah, that's big. This whale, like in this experience, was like, its eye was as big as my head, and then the rest of its body, and you properly got that sense of gargantuousness. Like, I know you can't see me in this podcast, but I was like looking to my left and just seeing body and tail in the distance, and then it's swimming past, and it took a minute to swim past. That blew my mind, more so than my previous experience with like Oculus Rift of walking along a platform that was suspended high in the air. You get that sensation that, you know, I'm mad high up, but you're not. But you are, but you're not. And that's what's going on in your mind. The reason I'd give Microsoft HoloLens my award is on two levels. One was the collaborative element. So say we're creating, well, I won't even say we're creating. I went to the Jet Propulsion Labs at NASA in California, and the team there were working to build a new rover for exploration on Mars. And by putting on the HoloLens, which does this thing called mixed reality, so it's like augmented, it overlaps a layer of the virtual onto your real world. So I'm walking around this preliminary design of the rover, and then someone else can put a headset on in Germany or whatever. We could talk over, VoIP or whatever. But then I could see where he's looking if he's pointing out something to me on this virtual construct. Do you know what I mean? And I can walk around and see, oh yeah, there. And we could both explore that thing at the same time, step inside it, see inside tubes and whatnot. So that collaborative element was just ridiculous, working together with someone, you know what I mean, far away. And we're not exchanging files. We're looking at, a 3D rendition of this idea, this construct.
How can you see where he's looking though? Is there like a virtual person?
Yeah. So you would see an avatar of this person standing in relation to you and this design. And then when he looked at a certain place, you actually saw a dotted line going to where they were focused on.
So it's feasible, do you think, to see or have a situation where you're sitting at your house, there's an empty seat, you put on your HoloLens, the phone rings or VoIP rings, and then there's someone sitting on the couch opposite looking at you.
Yep.
Well, that is going to revolutionise phone sex.
Yep.
Like,
whoa!
Shit. Woo! You know what I mean?
Snapchat need to get on with HoloLens and do a Snapchat special app.
Boy, snap me Beyonce.
Yes.
Most downloaded. And the other thing for HoloLens was they'd actually had data from this rover that was on Mars, which had been traveling and was recording details about the terrain. This had all been sent back to JPL. I put on this headset and I could see Mars. I went for a walk on Mars. That is going to take some topping.
Wicked. So what can we look forward to in 2017 then, do you reckon? More of that, or?
I think we'll definitely see VR develop more in terms of its application to exploration, Like I said, maybe I'd like to see it used in treatment. So, you know, if you are if you suffer a phobia, whether it's agoraphobia, arachnophobia, or anything like that, using a virtual environment to help you to get over that. So exploration, medical treatment, and the exploration could be another planet. It could be a terrain that's too harsh for humans to walk into, or it could be on a microscopic level, looking inside the body or something like that. Gaming is a given. Some form of interactive 360 movie, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
I think PlayStation, with their Sony links and movie making links, might be moving towards that kind of thing.
The thing is with that, just quickly, like, because I've thought about this, because obviously the idea has been touted about a bit, but the thing with VR is obviously you can look everywhere. You can look behind you if you want. You can look at the floor. You can look up. When it comes to like 360, you live in the movie, say, that you're watching. Won't you like miss stuff because you might not be looking at the right part of the screen when like a big thing is happening, and then you won't know what's going on.
So what better excuse to download the experience again, and for the company that's made it to perhaps make a little bit more money off you wanting to get every aspect of the 360 experience.
I guess, but it would just annoy me. I'd be like, I keep looking in the wrong place. I'd be like, fam, I keep missing stuff.
So no one can spoil the film for you because they're like, did you see this? And you're like, did you see that?
It will become even more annoying. You know, like when you're on the couch with your other half and they're like, why is that person doing that? Why is that happening? It's like, babe, I ain't the director. It'd be even more annoying. It would be like, which bit are you looking at? Where are you? Man.
Why are you running away?
Yeah, I'm not ready for that. I just like the flat screen. I don't even like 3D in the cinema. I know that's like a counter tech, but I'm just like, it messes with my mind when I watch movies in 3D, you know? The glasses feel weird on my face. Like, it takes me ages to adjust to it. The only film that I liked in 3D was Avatar, because it was designed like so much went into development for 3D that like when I watched it in 3D, I was like, yeah, this is the real shit. Like,
I'm kind of with you. I mean, I will always watch the movie in 3D, but when I see it in 2D, I know I've not really. It doesn't really add that much until a piece of wreckage from an explosion comes into the screen and I actually feel something hit my face.
Yeah.
So you got that genuine fourth dimension aspect to it.
A bit like some of the rides at like Universal Studios when I was in Orlando. They've got all those things where it's like you watch. I think it was like a Shrek thing, and it's like, you know, stuff's flying out the screen, and then like, you know, water will drop on you, or like the seat in front will go with like an air.
Yeah, I've done that. And someone sneezes in the film, and then like a spray of water hits you like a warm spray, and everyone's like, ugh.
Yeah, see, that's the next level. I've got a little envelope, like putting money away for that, because I don't doubt my wife is gonna want to go with my little girl when she's old enough.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking maybe 20 years. I should have enough in that envelope to send them
to afford it. Yeah,
the rides that we're talking about will be well outdated by then. You won't have to go, mate. You just put a VR headset on in your living room.
True.
Like, you have to leave the house.
You'll be like, well, that's 20 grand I've got. Hey, sticking that on the lottery.
Right. So that's what you think's coming up in 2017. What sort of gadget? Yeah, go on.
Well, I think we'll hear more about virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality. It's difficult to. It's without being a futurologist, it's actually difficult to predict what's going to. Everything we've got will of course continue. But what's going to be the next big thing? I find that a difficult question to answer because there's so much going on. And all it takes is for one innovation. It might be a large step or it might be a small tweak to something we're already using. And then people be like, oh my goodness, that's it. That's what we've been looking for. So I do enjoy being surprised by it all. I think connected homes, smart homes is really going to make some more headway this year as well, especially with the platform If This Then That, which will help you to link smart devices that you probably wouldn't have thought could talk to each other before. So we might see an increase in that.
Do you see that as almost, just to make it relatable for those people that don't have any smart tech in their house?
Heathens.
Do you see it as almost like in the future we're going to be dealing with like a Batman situation where with computer? You know what I mean? Where Batman's like, computer, do this for me, like blah blah blah. Do you see it like that?
Nick, it's just around the corner. Look at Alexa and Alexa Dot. So I've ordered mine. I'm waiting for it to come. Sonos announced last week that they're linking the two. So very soon you'll be able to step into the room where your Alexa is and say, Alexa, open Spotify, play me, whatever. Whatever. And that's done. And I think it's not sad, but it's like that sentence I've just spoken to you about. And all four of us in here are just like, yeah, that's probably going to happen. What?
Yeah.
Speaking into your room, asking for some music to play, and it playing without you having to break nothing out of its sleeve and put it on a record player or in a CD box or swipe left or swipe right. You ask for it, and it happens. 10 years ago, you say that to people. They look, you're tripping, man. What are you talking about? That ain't gonna happen. This is part of the regular conversation we're having now.
Like, if you look at our parents and our grandparents' generation, just how they are like wowed at any kind of, even when they were growing up, any technological advancements, it was like, wow, oh my God. Now we just expect it.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, isn't
We're
it? Now
spoiled. We should be wowed every few months when we read something in Wired or Engadget or Stuff or T3, anything, any one of those publications. You know what I mean?
Now we're like, you know what? What that was going to happen?
Now we're like,
last year.
We get a move on, mate. Oh, blimey.
Where's my teleporter at, man? Come on.
That's true. I've been moaning about that for ages. Every time I get a plane, I'm like, where's the teleportation device to go on holiday?
Can't wait.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Can't wait for that. I can only hope.
I'm slightly scared, though.
Can't wait for the TSA safety version to come out, because I don't want to be on prototype 1 and come out on the other side with like an arm sticking out the side of my head.
I'm scared, like, what's gonna happen?
Like inside out.
Yeah, that's not the one. So you messing with smart home tech then?
Yeah, I'm trying. I got a few bits and pieces.
All right.
And I'm dabbling with the idea of a smart lock, a connected lock that you would engage or unlock using an app on the phone. My concern is the more routes of entry you provide to something, in this example, the home, the more opportunities there are to be compromised. Whereas at the moment, it's a key. If you haven't got your key, you have to break a window or you're just not getting in. And some of these smart locks you can get in using a fob or the NFC on the back of your phone, or a code that you tap in, or it can be opened remotely. The saving grace with that is we're probably more connected to our phones than anything else. We could leave a pair of keys and forget about them because we're so engaged in our phones. But because we're so engaged in our phones, they're with us a lot of the time. If I lost the phone, I can go online, I can reset the code so no one's getting into the house. If I lose the keys, I've got to call out the locksmith, or I've got to go to the locksmith, I've got to spend money, I've got to get a new chamber, I've got to replace it all. Whereas, you know what I mean, if the phone's gone, I can still lock down the house. So I'm dabbling with the idea of getting a smart lock. I've invested in a couple of Sonos speakers. I've got smart carbon monoxide and smoke detectors, and I'm looking at the idea of smart heating, room sensors to detect activity in rooms, and just getting that whole Internet of Things going in the house.
Your house is just the robot house.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It doesn't surprise me because you work on the gadget show, but it's just mad.
Yeah, sure. People should be queuing up to give you smart stuff. With regards to smart tech in the house, that's something that you said you're experimenting. How long do you reckon until we start seeing this sort of stuff everywhere, just out and about?
when it becomes affordable.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest key to something gaining critical mass and becoming a success, whether it be runaway or slow building. I think once a technology has proved itself, and all the bits and pieces that go into making it, and the money that's been used to develop it has been paid back, and it becomes affordable, that's when you start to see it.
Cool. And once we mix in this if that then this sort of thing, that's where you think the possibilities are going to... And could you explain what that is actually? Because that's still quite a new concept to some.
So I'm learning about it myself, but it's a platform where basically it's a platform that enables you to have an event happen when something else happens. For example, I've got the GPS activated on my phone, and the heating system has a GPS locator. If I step across the threshold to my house, then the heating will come on. Do you understand? So it's having events happen based on the occurrence of something else.
They call it recipes, right? On the app.
So more and more what's happening is companies are announcing we have an if this then that platform. Soon you'll be able to pair us up with.
Because for a basic thing, just to if people are struggling to follow, I had a recipe on my if that then this, or if this then that. Yeah, I had a recipe on mine which was very simple. It was just that when I posted a picture on Instagram, I wanted that picture to post on Twitter as an actual picture rather than a link.
Yes.
So I could get my Twitter to just post it as a picture, just by posting it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then it just done it automatically. You don't
That's
have
a
to do
good
anything
recipe.
extra.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into a different app or whatever. It just does it.
Right.
Or if you're a
sleaze,
that's a good recipe. Yeah. Or if you're a sleaze bag, you could be a bit more complex. Like if it's the 14th of February and I come home after 8 o'clock and play Barry White.
Yeah.
On the
in my bedroom.
Yeah.
On the Sonos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you know to turn the heating off in that room. So that anyone in that room,
it's going to get hot in
it's going to get hot in there anyway. But you want them to snuggle up to you, whoever's in that room.
You want the hue lights to go red as well.
Yeah, the hue lights to go red, dimmed. That's right, Nick. I'm talking about the blinds to go down.
Smart candles to turn on.
Yeah. And
so
then
the possibilities, there you go. Just
are endless.
Limited by your own.
I'll call it the perv recipe. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's out there already. And then, the sharing of recipes and that is pretty cool as well. Yeah. Right, so... Right, you get it now. Otis is into gadgets and tech. He's surrounded by them all the time. Is there anything out there that you're still a bit like, it doesn't really do it for me, tech and gadget? Why is there anything that's affected society with tech and gadgets?
It's funny. I think there's going to be an element on the show where we look at a piece of technology that has disappointed us. You get an exclusive here, by the way.
Okay.
Disappointed us. And there'll be like a debate on it. I mean, have we given this bit of tech a hard time, or is our negative judgment justified? It's kind of hard for me because I'm tight-fisted, so I will do my research before parting with my money for something.
Yeah.
So trying to think about a bit of tech that has let me down. Not that I've spent my money on. I've had some troublesome tech, but I'm still using it, so I can't really rubbish it. There's a monitor that I use just to keep an eye on my daughter in her room, make sure she doesn't throw all her toys out of her cot and goes to sleep on time. And it's not really the tech that's failing, it's the ports. The ports are loose, so I can't charge it properly. I have to spend like 5 minutes twisting and changing the angle. It's like old school aerial trying to get a reception on your TV. I'm playing with this cable to try and find the sweet spot so that the device is charging. But I can't throw that into the pit just yet because I'm still using it.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what to throw into the pit: iPhone chargers. They can go straight in the pit, like never to return.
For which crime? Length?
Well, no, because you can get the long one, innit? You can get the 3 meter way. Just the when they get the
frayed
collar,
frayed.
yeah, like. They all get it. This needs to stop happening now. The technology that people have got, come on, develop a charger that doesn't get the chubby neck.
And until they do, though, I got a solution for you. I might have a couple of solutions. I know you can buy certain rugged charger cables nowadays, or there's this little thing called Sugru, which is like it's putty. Okay, so it comes in a little foil packet.
Okay.
Different colors. You open it up and you form the shape that you need, and it's fully insulated, and just like mad malleable. If you've got the collar and maybe some wires exposed, you just take a little bit of Sugru, you fashion it round, and you might want to do a proper little collar, or I don't know, any design, a little football or whatever, and that will fully seal it and make sure that the life of your charger cable is extended. Sugru is that stuff.
But then, like, where it gets like frayed is around the. I don't mean to turn really boring and obsessive here about the charger, but it's around the point of like where the charger comes to the end. If you get what I mean,
You're
like,
good.
Like, but what I mean is that bit is normally in my bed because my phone is in my bed. Will this putty like mess up my bed sheets?
No, because after 24 hours, once it's hardened, the color doesn't leak on skin or clothing or nothing.
Okay, so
yeah, man,
it is the gear.
Yeah.
Sorted. What do you think of social media and that, and how that's affected society with regards to us being so interconnected?
Good and bad, innit? Yeah. So it's allowed us to see and be aware of so much that's going on in the world that we wouldn't have known about previously.
Yeah.
And there are mad examples. The main one that springs to mind for me is Black Lives Matter, for example.
Yeah.
We have seen a lot more stateside atrocities as a result of people having their devices on them and being able to upload straight away than we ever would have. And then you've got stuff like if we look at the Ice Bucket Challenge, where social media again was used for something that was good. I think there was the amount of awareness and money raised for Ice Bucket Challenge has moved them something like 10 years along the scale of expectation. They're like 10 years closer to getting a solution or something like that than they were before, that went viral and everybody was doing it, to the point where people ain't even know why they were doing it. They were just chucking cold water over each other. And then there's the negative side, the ease with which you can see the bad stuff, so the bullying, the insults. I mean, bullying's always been there. I guess the tools have changed, and again, because it's social media, we're more aware of what's going on and the negative impact. So again, we should talk about ways of combating this. It's about anything. Give somebody a tool and they can choose to use it for good or bad. There's a pair of scissors on the table. I mean, I could cut up a nice picture in the magazine, or I could run around this room and I could slit all your throats. It's about...
Wouldn't all be bad if you did that. I mean, Producer Bill was a bit annoying.
I mean,
do it first.
It's about what you choose to do with the tool. So it's about being educated. And then there is the addictive side as well, which we're all privy to. You jump on the tube, do you know what I mean? And immediately head down, looking at your device. All do it.
Get on a plane, it's like the minute you touch down on a plane, like the phone is out of the pocket.
You just hear the vibrations and the eats and the all of
you
that.
You can't even wait to get off the plane. That is mad.
Walking street now, you see like smartphone zombies, people who don't even know what direction they're walking in because they're so focused on whether it's a map or you know what I mean, their Instagram feed or you know what I mean, it's nuts.
There's an advert on TV at the moment, I think it might be for Eurostar. We're not getting any free stuff from Eurostar, but if they want to fling it our way, I'll take a free
couple return tickets.
Exactly. But it's basically saying like, ask a local don't look at your phone is one of the things that it says to experience the best like time in Paris or whatever.
Yeah.
But the downside with that is whenever you ask a local, and like you might be unlucky like me, you always get the biggest dunce who sends you the wrong way. My phone ain't sending me the wrong way. You know what I mean? I'm getting the full, just take a left and then a right. Like,
that was me.
I was about to say, I am that dunce. Because when people ask me, they're like, where's a bar?
But do you lie then? Did you not say you don't know?
No, I'm straight up. I'm like, you know what? I don't live in the city anymore. I'd point you to a bar I was hanging out at 15 years ago. Always a block of flats now.
Yeah. I think I was a kid. When I was a kid, I used to lie. I used to be like, go out there, take a left.
What a scumbag.
Take another left. Take a left. And then we'd hide and watch the car just pass a couple of times.
You know, we said slit Billy's throat first. I've changed my mind. Go for Marcus.
On that note, cheers for coming down, Ortis, man. I appreciate you killing that out with us. And the Gadget Show out in March
10th.
March the 10th.
Episode 1. Take a look. I'm pretty sure if tech is your thing, you're gonna like it.
Even if you're not, though, that's why I feel like if you're not, you still feel like you can take stuff away from the show. It's not like you have to be into it.
True. We're trying to be inclusive.
Yeah.
But it's about, educating people.
And who do they send the email to get you scaling buildings? And
it's not gonna read it at it ain't happening. .net.
Oh, it sounds like a real email address. It's amazing.
Crazy. I'm going to get on that now.
And you should also watch it just to see the world's longest competition list prize. Prize list.
Are we in for a little treat?
If there's one thing that doesn't change in Gadget Show, it's the competition. It's still ridiculously long. Will make all your friends and relatives love you more or maybe hate you if you win it.
How does that? Just a quick one more quick question. If you do win and that stuff gets delivered, does it come in like a juggernaut truck? Because like there is so much stuff.
It's crazy.
Comes in a big van. Big van.
Definitely big van.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like the competition, it's like 50 TVs, 100 drones. Like it's crazy.
It's just like sometimes I watch it and I think if I won all of that stuff, I don't even think it'd fit in my flat. I'd have to get big yellow storage on board.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's included in.
Oh, right.
Oh, really?
It is. I think they give you a month's free storage to put all your.
Like literally, I don't know where I'd put it in my flat.
So you got a month to sell it on eBay. I mean, you got a month to get it in your house. But thanks very much for coming down, man. I look forward to the new show and a new season. And yeah, man, we'll probably catch up on the other end of the couple of seasons if that's right with you. All right, cheers.
Yeah.
Plenty of ways to kill some time out there. He's been Nick Bright.
He's been Marcus Bronzy.
And you've been Ortis. Cheers.
Peace.
So that was it. That was our conversation with Ortis and the Gadget Show here on How to Kill an Hour, showing you that 2017, we're taking it to the mainstream, baby.
Yeah, that's how we roll. Do you know what I mean? Next, Prince Charles. Next week on How to Kill an Hour. Probably not.
You said, your mate Hazza.
Yeah, I'll have a word with Harry, I'll see what his availability's like. If he can't come on, I'll ask William, but, I'm cooler with Harry.
All right, fair enough.
Even though William's the future king, but whatevs.
Yeah, man. Well, boy. Do you know who I wouldn't mind sliding in my DMs though if they were in my vicinity?
I was gonna like guess. I was just gonna start throwing.
Nah, because I had to come in there because you was gonna pick out some random
I was
brer.
gonna pick like horrible like people.
The Queen herself, like
treason.
Yeah, nah, Lizzie, you're lovely, but all I'm saying is, come on, bro.
I mean, there's a bit of an age gap.
Yeah, I mean, what would we talk about? What would we talk about? Whereas
Marcus,
with Pippa,
I really like your trainers. Those Air Force Ones, they're awfully good.
Maybe talk about stuff like that.
That'd be cool.
I heard Dizzy Rascal once mention it in a song. I think it was called Fix Up, Look Sharp. Fantastic record. I play it on my gramophone. Philip loves it too.
The gramophone,
the song,
Dizzy Rascal, or something else, Your Majesty.
He can't get enough of it. Philip. Hello, Prince Philip. Anyway, I don't want to get hung on the way out of here, especially because I know them.
Fucking hell. Ortis and treason all in one show.
Crazy.
Plenty of ways to kill some time out there. Thank you for killing some time with him, Nick Bright.
And him, Marcus Bronze.